Kramer for three. Got it! Unbelievable! Puts it up and in.
Five teams racing to become champions of the water.
This is the future of racing.
They are going to collide, surely. These flying. What a race we've got here.
Ronaldo. Oh, genius!
Van Persie with an absolute stunner. Yeah! Oh my word!
Rosso per Zidane.
Another absolute screamer, and still Lamine! Genius from Lamine Yamal.
Harry Kane! One of the most exhilarating down-to-the-wire championship fights we have seen.
The world's greatest drivers gather.
Oh, right on the door handles.
What a spectacle! Let's go, man! Kick on the way! There is nothing like the Super Bowl. Let's make history! This is sensational! The genius of modern boxing!
The following program is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Hello and welcome to Las Vegas for a night of World Championship Boxing live on DAZN Saturday Fight Night, as Rolly Romero will put his WBA welterweight title on the line against the takeover, Teofimo Lopez. Who will play the winning hand tonight when all the chips are down?
Welcome to Las Vegas, Sin City, the place where the lights shine brightest and the biggest superstars come out to play.
The takeover!
Lopez gets the knockdown.
I'm a fighter to the end of that day.
Let's get this party started!
August 26th.
Think about Rolly. He gonna get you or you gonna get him?
It's a sizzling day in Sin City, and the temperature will only be rising here inside the T-Mobile Arena as we're getting things warmed up with three action-packed prelim fights before the pay-per-view starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time, reaching boiling point for that welterweight world title fight. Hello, everyone. I am Corey Urban alongside Malik Scott. Pleased to be calling the preliminary action for you here from ringside. The third member of our broadcast team, Justin Goosen Brown, will be joining us in just a few moments. So, Malik, you're back in the very city in a similar circumstance where you made your professional debut on that undercard with the baby bull Juan Diaz. You know what some of these preliminary fighters are feeling here tonight.
Yes, that was the whole main event crew. Me, Juan Diaz, even Bajado, was fighting back then. And what was very important to me and what meant a lot to me is my idol, Lennox Lewis, was fighting David Tua the very next day. And it was like a continuation undercard to the main card. So, and I remember I got a good knockout, hit a guy with a good right uppercut. He was out cold. I felt real good about myself. My mother and my little brother was able to come out there and witness it. So, yeah, fun times early on in their career.
Yeah, we got young fighters cutting their teeth on a major pay-per-view undercard here tonight. And, of course, this is also effectively the debut of PBC, now underneath the DAZN umbrella. Nearly all of the boxing world is now under this umbrella. And you know better than anyone, PBC, very few entities in boxing history can say that they put on a big event, a big spectacle, quite like Premier Boxing Champions.
Absolutely, and this is a hell of a launch, in my opinion, being as though this is the first one with DAZN. And I think when you look in depth of the undercard, it's a lot of great matchup thus far. I'm already looking for not just the main event, but even the fights that's under it. The Hernandez fight is going to be an incredible fight. The Mercado fight is going to be an incredible fight. So the matchups is like, you know, very, very relevant, and it looks good.
Perhaps an introduction for some of those fighters to the mainstream audience, but everyone is familiar with the two fighters at the top of the bill here tonight. Rolly Romero putting his title on the line against Teofimo Lopez. Two of the biggest characters, the brightest personalities in the sport of boxing, but two fighters who have some questions surrounding them coming into this fight for different reasons. In the case of Rolly Romero, there is the layoff since the biggest victory of his professional career over Ryan Garcia, and on the other side, Teofimo Lopez coming off that loss to Shakur Stevenson. So let's start with Rolly Romero. How much do you think that layoff, which is approaching nearly 500 days, will impact him in our main event?
Corey, I always say I believe inactivity is the worst thing a fighter can deal with, but the difference in Rolly Keys, he's coming off the biggest win of his career, a very relevant win against Ryan Garcia, and then he had this long layoff. I believe that he's going to build off of that win that he had with Ryan, show people it wasn't a fluke, and show people why he shouldn't be, in my opinion, the most disrespected champion in boxing. Rolly has speed, Rolly has power, Rolly is accurate, Rolly has a judo background, he's very physical. So, you know, in my opinion, he's just a very underrated fighter.
Yeah, and certainly coming in with a whole lot of confidence. He's never been short on confidence at any point in his career. So the ring rust, it could be a physical thing, but mentally, Rolly seems to be in the right place. The question on the other side of this fight is, where is Teofimo Lopez mentally coming off that loss to Shakur Stevenson?
Well, we're going to see if Teofimo, is he going to fall short because of the craft effect? The craft effect is what Pernell Whitaker used to put on guys. Meldrick Taylor used to put on guys. Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum. They wouldn't necessarily knock you out, but they will humiliate you. They will make you see speed you never seen before. They will make you miss like you never did before. And in that case, fighters get humiliated. And sometimes fighters that fought those great fighters, they never was the same after that. Not from getting knocked out cold, but just from being humiliated. And in my opinion, Teofimo got humiliated against Shakur. So we're going to see, did that affect him? And can he come back and win this fight tonight against a dangerous, in my opinion, Rolly Romero?
Yeah, that is one thing about Teofimo is historically, listen, there have been the valleys, but they tend to be followed by the peaks.
Absolutely.
Teofimo has always been able to bounce back. So let's talk about this quickly in terms of the technique of this fight, because it's a fascinating style matchup in that both these guys have been hot and cold. And you and I were talking on the phone the other day. You feel that Rolly is a little bit underestimated in terms of his technique. Teofimo, one of the more technically gifted fighters across the board. What do you think the keys to victory are for both men in this main event?
Well, I think when it comes to Rolly, him being composed is how he beat Ryan Garcia. Him keeping his speed, him not putting his chin back far over his front knee on a consistent basis against Ryan. It's not what Ryan wasn't doing, it's what he wasn't allowed to do. Rolly didn't allow him to get that left hook off. He kept his right hand up, basic boxing. What Teo is going to have to do, in my opinion, he's going to have to take chances. And he's going to have to take chances against a puncher. Rolly will not allow him to just sit back and box and be pretty the way how Barboza did. That won't be the case. Both fighters have great advantages over each other, but we're going to see who game plan come through the best.
Well, that's our main event, of course, coming up a little bit later on tonight on a DAZN pay-per-view, but that's not all we have coming your way on that pay-per-view card. As we take a look at it, of course, there is that main event between Rolly and Teofimo, the WBA World Welterweight title on the line, a good-looking co-feature as well, featuring the Cuban banger Yoenli Hernandez, who will take on the double-tough Francisco Verón of Argentina. The WBA Interim Super Bantamweight title will be on the line as well, as Victor Santillan puts the strap on the line against Gary Antonio Russell. And it is perhaps a coronation for one of the hottest prospects in the sport of boxing today, as Carlos Utria will open up the pay-per-view broadcast as he takes on Israel Mercado. And of course, you can buy that event now at DAZN.com/boxing or sign up to DAZN Ultimate to include all our pay-per-view events and subscription fights for one great price. It's undisputed value for every fight fan. Before the pay-per-view begins, though, we have 3 prelim bouts for you for free tonight, and we take a look at them right here. The hard-hitting Marco Romero takes on Khalil Mitchell at the top of the prelim bill in middleweight action. Vancouver, British Columbia's Joseph Brown will be in action against Alton Wiggins. And in just a few moments in super lightweight action, it is Aldo Blancas, the brother of Daniel Blancas, who will take on Ricky Mamone. And we are ready to get the prelims underway. And to do that, we send it up to our MC, Mr. Karan Bhatia.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. And welcome to the T-Mobile Arena. Tonight we present Rolly versus Teofimo, Put Up or Shut Up, a PBC pay-per-view available on DAZN and Prime Video. We are sponsored by DraftKings, the crown is yours, and Paramount Pictures, By Any Means. Get tickets for By Any Means only in theaters September 4th. Our first bout of the evening is scheduled for 4 rounds, just above the super lightweight limit. Your 3 judges at ringside: Eric Cheek, Lisa Giampa, and Chris Migliori. And the referee in charge of the action, John McCarthy. It is now time to get the action started in our opening prelim bout. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing red trunks. He has a professional record of 0 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw. He weighed in at 142 pounds. Fighting out of Salt Lake City, Utah, the MMA veteran. Please welcome Ricky Mamone. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing purple trunks. His record, a perfect one. 2 wins, no losses. 2 wins by way of knockout. He weighed in at 140.2 pounds. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, from the David Benavides camp. Please welcome the undefeated Aldo Blancas.
Okay, right here is good. Right there is good. Understand? The rules: protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves now. Good luck to both of you. God bless.
So we are ready to get things started here on the prelims, 4-round super lightweight action. Aldo Blancas back in Las Vegas, where he made his pro debut on the Fundora Thurman undercard. Jamal Johnson in just 2 rounds in that bout. And now tonight taking on Ricky Mamone, just his second professional bout. To a split decision draw with Dylan Nguyen earlier this year in Utah. And Nguyen, a guy with about 40 amateur fights, so an impressive result considering Mamone is a guy with a limited amateur background, also moonlighting as an MMA fighter, and now tonight in the same kind of matchup against Blancas.
Yes, and he came out and basically went right with offense. He chose violence right off the rip. He came out and threw a good left hook, straight right hand, and made Aldo go into a high guard. But Aldo comes off a good, very good amateur background pedigree that has had 2-time national champion, and he's with the Benavides family now, so, you know, it's no secret what type of expectations we're having from him tonight.
Benavidez camp, one that has grown over the last couple of years, understandably, given the success that David has had. And before our broadcast began, we saw Benjamin Johnson in action, a guy who kind of styles or crafts his style around that Benavidez style. And now Blancas, another prospect now being groomed out in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, and Benjamin was actually walking forward, literally like George Foreman and David Benavidez do to his opponent. That was a good fight. You can see Aldo here. He's a little bit more behind the jab. You can tell he's a little bit more sophisticated. He's trying to allow Johnson to run into something. And we're going to see if he could, make it happen. I think he should focus on the right uppercut because Johnson is going underneath a bit. So we're going to see if he put that into his attack.
Trying to lunge in, trying to work his way to the inside. Just trying to settle in. Mamone trying to disrupt his rhythm with these kind of ambush attacks, and particularly early in that round, especially in a 4-rounder for someone like Mamone, I think it's a good strategy.
Mamone just ran into a good left hook right hand. I think Aldo should continue to do what he's doing. He's keeping good distance, and Mamone is opening up with his offense when he's coming forward, so I wouldn't be surprised if he get clipped straight down the middle.
Certainly a tax to pay for that kind of aggression.
Yes, I love how Mamone, even when nothing is going on, he's using a probing jab. The jab may not be landed, but he's using a probing jab. Every time he gets there, I think he should clinch and spin off the rope how he's doing. And focus on more staying in the center of the ring instead of getting, allowing Mamone to push him up against the rope. See, right here, he should be ready to cut off. There you go. Don't just lay on that rope like that. It doesn't look good to the judges as well either.
Sequence there for Blancas, lands the left hook. Avoids
good jab.
Touching those ropes, and nice left hook again there from Blancas.
Mamone
right on top of him.
Yes, he's a bit stubborn, right? Bell. Yes. Stubborn Mamone.
Nomás cuídate con lo único que tienes es volada, pero si tiras tus rectos, de perdida para picar, lo que haces para atrás, me lo ganas con una picar, con el volante izquierdo o al cuerpo. Tienes que estar listo, güey, no te salgas con la cabeza alta. Bajita no vas a poder contrapegar. Pero creo yo que pum, y te das las vueltas al ladito, se va a ir de paso y lo vas a poder agarrar de lado también.
Quiere agarrar con abusado.
En este round yo creo que se va a salir un poquito más calmadito, te va a dejar trabajar un poquito. Pero ponte listo, abre los ojos nomás y bien paradito para poder tomar decisiones. Uno más. Está necesario estos réditos para que se
Round 2 underway. Aldo Blancas and Ricky Mamone getting things started for us here at the T-Mobile Arena. And a beautiful check hook there from Blancas. That left hook was working for him in the opening round, and there was a little extra zip on that one.
Yes, absolutely. And he could pretty much depend on Mamone to just come in. Actually, he should throw more check hooks because when Mamone is coming forward, he's very reckless, very gung-ho. Look, the hook again. Every time he can do that. Should start putting the right hand behind it a little bit more. Mamone is kind of getting used and numb to just the left hook. Start putting the right hand, basically the 3-2 behind it. I love how he probes in between his offense when nothing's going on. He put that lead hand out there.
Little left hook there by Mamone. Might be outperforming expectations a little bit here, Malik. Full transparency, when you see fighters who are also moonlighting in MMA, you kind of expect glaring defensive deficiencies.
Yes,
and Mamone hasn't shown those quite yet.
No, not at all. He's actually looked like he's pretty, good at striking. His feet is not all over the place. He's coming forward. Yeah, at times he's getting a little wild, but like you say, he come from the MMA world. But I would give him, a bit of credit for the way how he's looking right now. He's not looking, out of his depths.
Inside wall. A la izquierda. Tocando, pinta.
Just looking for that right hand over the top.
Corey, you know what I would love to see? I would love to see Aldo actually get to a good, educated jab. Like the hook is landing, the right hand is, going over Mamone's head. Like, I like the probing jab that he's doing, but he's never putting out a good, real, hard, heavy bag jab. Like, it's all probes. He finally went with a right uppercut there. That was good. See, like right there, okay, we get that you're probing, but start putting a real jab out there, a snappy jab out there. Let Mamone run into it.
Good body shot and a nice right hand over the top. Now, whether that jab has been there or not, the left hooks to the body are starting to land, and they are landing hard.
Another one, yes.
Yeah, Mamone's starting to duck into these body shots, and you can't duck out of the way of that one. First knockdown of the fight.
5, 6, 7, 8.
That's where you see the real maturity of young fighters. Let's see how he going for the finish here.
25 seconds remaining here in round 2. Aldo Blancas in search of knockout number 3 here tonight.
Good body. That's it. Get back down to that body.
The right uppercut breaks through. Little stumble there from Mamone, who's just trying to make it out of the round here.
He's hurt.
The bell will be his friend, and he will make it out of round 2.
Hey, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Let's go. Recover, recover. You gotta recover. You gotta recover. You gotta recover. Hey, fuck around and find out. That's what happens. Fucking listen. All you gotta do is fucking come in with a fucking closer gap. Drive his ass back, dummy. I never told you stand there and fucking exchange with him. You gotta push him back. You cannot fight backwards, you dummy. You like standing there, you're gonna take one body shot, you're gonna take one knee. Okay, it's that easy. You gotta get in and get the fuck out.
30 seconds. 30
You're standing around too much. You're standing around too much.
Gotta move, gotta move. You gotta recover, you gotta bring it down.
We take a look back at some of the action and the body shot that dropped Ricky Mamone in the last round.
Yeah, you can see the left hook was there. And look, good old liver shot. Put it right around there. And that's a shot you can't fake off. I don't care how tough you is, how good you are at a poker face. When that liver shot lands, you know, I done seen the best of them go down.
So a very animated corner with Ricky Mamone. The fighting Mamone family certainly letting him hear
it.
He
got hit with a hook already, right off the rip.
So they were demanding that he try and push Aldo Blancas back.
I think he was a little bit more than demanding. He actually told him, F around and find out.
That is right. Hey, he just landed the best left hook that he's landed this fight.
Yes. Aldo need to get right back down to that body. That's where he had. Good hook. The check hook been landing. He needs to put the right hand behind the check hook now or get back down to the body.
Mamone felt that one. Yeah. A delayed reaction on that check hook.
Get down,
and now
get back down to that body. There you go. Beautiful move. Way to cut off the rope right there.
Well, briefly retreating to the perimeter there a couple of moments ago, but now meeting Blancas in the center of the ring, and he just got ripped with another left hook to the body.
Got to give Mamone credit. He's taking some incredible shots here, and he's still standing, going forward. Trying to get some punches off. You know, he's dealing with a lot right now. The steam is not on his punches like they was earlier. And that's because of the body work.
Hard body shot again. And a chopping right hand point. Blancas just missed with a home run uppercut there a moment ago.
Mamone is hurt, yeah.
Hard body shot again there from Blancas. Boy, Mamone is double tough. You got to commend the recuperative abilities of Mamone. He's been visibly hurt a couple times this round, and he keeps plowing forward.
Yes, Corey. He's taking some incredible body shots, some hard shots around the ear, which is knocking his equilibrium all off. And look, he's still making some good decisions. He's aware that he's hurt, but he's disengaging at times. He's trying to keep his hands up, but the body work is just bringing his hands down.
Took a pretty good slap from Sergio Mamone in the corner, too.
Yes, 2. One in the face and one on the chest. Look, he's coming right back. He's a bit stubborn. Stubborn Mamone is what I've been calling him thus far.
Gotta love this inside work here from Blancas as well. Just the quick shoe shine combination to set up the right hand, the one that he really wants to land.
Yes. In the shoe shine, the combinations, the first few punches are really decoys to get your lag shot in hard. Still would love to see a snappy jab from Aldo to get back down to the body, to land that straight right hand. He does a lot of probing.
10 seconds here of round 3. Round that did not start well for Ricky Mamone. There were times when it looked like he might not make it out of the round.
Landed a good overhand right there.
Blood coming from his nose, and he is still in there banging. A valiant effort from the Hawaiian as we take a listen into his corner once again.
Aldo, tienes condición, güey. Hay que echarle, no estás cansado. Vamos con todo. Over there.
Está peligroso todavía,
Sube las manos, güey, pero no.
We didn't cover. Sorry. Okay, here we go. 30 seconds. Okay, go. We're at 30 seconds right now. Come on, baby. Hey, you gotta fucking go all the way, okay? This guy just touching you. Don't let him touch you. Just counter him the whole time. Use your fucking feet. You understand? Use your feet. You gotta beat this guy and punch him more than he punches you. Because right now, they get him up. Okay, you guys got it? Let's go. You got it? You got it? Let's go. Don't fuck this tag out right now. Keep your hands up. Let's go.
Ringside physicians take a quick look at a Ricky Mamone. Of course, the nose busted open in the previous round. He is back at it here in round 4. He's given some good rounds to Aldo Blancas here tonight. You would expect nothing less out of Ricky Mamone, who, as we mentioned, will take fights in any discipline. And back in high school, he was a pass-catching running back, a little 140-pound running back. He's not afraid to take on bigger guys.
No, not at all. And then to go from that sport to go into MMA and then into boxing, like, you know, it's very impressive. And he had every reason, you could say, right here to lay down tonight. He got hit with some very, very good shots. But like I said, he's coming back with his own. Got hit with a good right hand there. He's coming back with his own. And he still have a fighting spirit. Like, he's not looking for a way out. And like I said, he can take some good body shots, some good left hooks, and he's still in here trying.
Trying to make things messy on the inside. Still walking him down. To your point, Malik, we haven't seen him use the jab as anything other than a guy.
Yes. And it's not wrong with a probing jab, but they should be mixed in with good front foot jabs. They should be mixed in with good snappy jabs. Like, mix those in with the probing jab, but he's not actually doing that.
Referee Big John McCarthy knows a thing or two about MMA techniques.
Absolutely. Legend.
Good right hand there from Blancas again.
Mamone is coming right back.
Oh, that's a wicked uppercut that just busted the nose of Mamone open once again. As he turns the corner with another good right hand.
Mamone just got hit with 2 good body shots. Landed a nice overhand right there.
Excellent right hand.
But there's no more steam on it because Aldo basically took all the body, the punch, the power away with the body shots.
Swinging for the fences with a haymaker of a right hand there a moment ago, with less than a minute now remaining in this contest. These have been valuable rounds, a good learning opportunity for Aldo Blancas, who, as you referenced, Malik, was one of the best junior amateurs in the nation before turning pro. And again, this is still just a 19-year-old prospect.
Yes, not one-time national champion, actually a 2-time national champion, and went on to do some other great things in the amateurs. And he, like we said earlier, he's training with the Benavidez family, so it's tons of experience he's getting here. But I would love to actually see him get more of an educated left hand. His jab should be pumping. He's in with a shorter guy. There's no reason he shouldn't be jabbing. I get he want to get to the inside. I get he want to get to the body. But let your jab get you there. Create it. Build the knockout.
Final 10 seconds of the contest. Another hard left hand to the body from Blancas, who is letting it fly right to the bell.
They're going to take a look at him. Tough guy. Very tough guy.
Eyes good? Yeah. Okay.
Well, that's an entertaining way to start our prelims.
I thought so. Very, very entertaining. Aldo, I can't reiterate it enough. You know, when you got the height like that over the opponent, you want him to use your snappy jab. And Mamone is tough as they come, in my opinion. He had every reason to, take a knee, get himself together, look for a way out. He didn't do that at all. Coming from an MMA background, I give his striking, good B-, converting to a boxing ring. And he did very well, tough and stubborn.
He'll certainly receive some calls like this based off of that effort. There are a lot of prospects who could benefit from rounds like that, as Blancas will tonight.
Absolutely. He give them more than rounds, because you have prospects that sometimes they can be in there with guys that don't have high activity and they get in rounds. But this guy, Mamone, he actually threatens you a bit. He touches your character as well as your physical ability.
Moses Ntauma has a chance to become the second youngest heavyweight world champion when he faces El Animal Filip Hrgovic next Saturday. Book your chance to witness history at DAZN.com/boxing. Reminder that coming up at 5 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, it is the pay-per-view portion of our broadcast. It is Rolly and Teofimo. You can buy it now at DAZN.com. It is put up or shut up time a little bit later on here tonight in Las Vegas. And Ricky Mamone certainly put up a valiant effort against this man, Aldo Blancas, here tonight. We are ready to hear what the judges have to say as we hand it back to Karim Bhatia.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for these two warriors. After 4 Judge Eric Cheek and Lisa Chiampa scored the bout 39-36. Judge Chris Migliori scores the bout 40-35. All 3 judges are in agreement. The winner by unanimous decision, Aldo Blancas!
So Aldo Blancas picks up the unanimous decision victory. Heard one judge did find a round to give to Ricky Mamone, and I do always like to see that even in undercard fights like this, judges are mailing it in. They're scoring the fight round to round, finding one round to give to Ricky Mamone. And credit to Aldo Blancas, who certainly had to battle a tough guy here tonight. We're ready to hear from Aldo as he is standing by with Justin Goosen Brown.
Congratulations, Aldo. First distance fight of your career against a tough, aggressive Ricky Mamone. But you found some good body shots, especially in round 2. Just tell me kind of what you were feeling in there.
I see he had a tough chin, a hard head. He didn't want to go down. Coach Senior was telling me, go to the body. Everyone drops to the body, and we were just focusing on trying to find that one punch, and we got him in the second round. But we kept looking for it in the other rounds, but couldn't get it. But we're gonna keep working on that.
Yep, and obviously you mentioned Jose Senior right here. Just especially with your family too. You come from a fighting family. Just tell me what that experience, especially around Team Benavidez, brings to your career.
Hell of experience. That senior guy, he's a hell of a trainer. He's always pushing us to the limits in the gym, outside the gym, anywhere we go. I want to thank Senior. He's a good coach. He's pushing me through the limits. We're going to keep showing it throughout the fights.
Well, congratulations, man. When can we expect to see you back?
We're going to see hopefully in a couple months. I'm just starting my first year in pro. We're going to keep fighting, trying to stay active, get more fights, and we're going to make that happen.
Well, congratulations, Aldo. Congratulations, Jose.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justin. Well, an impressive performance from Aldo Blancas. And Malika, I certainly think you could see, especially with the inside work from Blancas, you could see the fingerprints of the David Benavidez camp and some of the things, some of the patterns that you would see out of David.
Oh, definitely. You can see the liver shots. You can see the high volume inside. Obviously, he's a young fighter, so it's not at the level of David's volume right now, but you could tell that's the direction that they're going. But I can't say it enough, Corey. I would love to see him get an educated left hand, a good jab, a good snappy jab going. His jab wasn't there tonight, but his probing jab was. But he did good.
Coming up later on as part of the DAZN pay-per-view broadcast. As we mentioned, the WBA interim super bantamweight title on the line. Victor Santillan, you see him there putting his title on the line against Gary Antonio Russell. A really interesting fight, Malik, and some really interesting stakes as well. We don't know what Naoya Inoue is going to do. He could vacate that division. The winner of this fight could wind up in the Monster Sweepstakes. You never know. So there isn't just an interim title at stake. There's potentially one of the biggest fights in the sport to be looking at.
Absolutely. Inoue making that move, it puts these guys in a very dangerous but fortunate position. But this fight right here is going to be the battle of the southpaws. One is a little bit gung-ho, and one is like to stay behind their front knee a bit. It's going to be an interesting fight, and I'm looking forward to it. Russell comes from that background, that family fighting background. His father left back an incredible legacy between him and his brothers. But he have his hands full tonight. We're going to see if he can pass this test with flying colors.
And, of course, hoping that he has a fight that does not end by a head clash as well.
Yes.
He's dealt with that too much.
Yes.
Well, that's coming up a little bit later on. And now with our first of 3 prelim fights settled, we build up to that World Championship pay-per-view event on DAZN tonight as Rolly Romero puts his WBA welterweight title on the line against Teofimo Lopez. Here's what the pair had to say when they sat down with Chris Mannix in the build-up to the fight.
Rolly, Teo, thanks for being here. You guys are friends-ish? How would you describe your relationship?
It's like my little brother.
Yeah, I suppose, you know.
We spent a lot of time together.
Is it going to be strange at all for you to go out there, you got great power, to try to use that power on a guy you're friends with?
I mean, a boxing fight's a boxing fight. Sparring session, boxing fight's boxing fight, you know. It's like, if it's God's will, Teofimo will be world champion. If it's God's will, I remain champion, continue on my legacy too.
All right, what do you remember about sparring Rolly Romero?
One thing I remember of Rolly is just he doesn't quit. He doesn't quit.
So who got the better of these sparring sessions, to your memories?
I believe Teo got the better. Truly. I mean, we both had our moments.
I mean,
you know?
Everybody had their moments for sure.
Yeah.
Do you see a difficult fight on the 22nd?
Yeah, I think it's just competitive.
It's a little bit more of a pause there, though, from you. You have to think about that for a second.
If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the way I want to do this, right? But that's just who I am. I'm a nutcase. Yeah. But I didn't want to face you right away.
Yeah.
Off of just, I want to see you still proceed into your stuff.
Yeah,
right?
trust me, I wanted to go knock out Conor Ben.
I wanted you to go
or Ryan Garcia, or bruh.
So what does this fight mean then for you?
To show the world that, yes, we could be friends, but when it comes to boxing and business, you got to make the fights happen, no matter what.
We're throwing some shots, huh?
Yeah, we're throwing shots at everybody. At the same time, it's going to be fun, entertaining. Everyone deserves to see a good showing. He's going to come with all his might, and so am I.
All right, Rolly, Teo, thanks for being here.
So Rolly and Teofimo will have to set their friendship aside tonight as they battle it out in Sin City, and you can head to /boxing to buy the event so you won't miss a single moment from Las Vegas here tonight. And we are ready to roll along with the prelim portion of our event as we send it back up to our MC, Karan Bhatia.
Making his way to the ring from Modesto, California, here is Alton Wiggins.
Well, Alton Wiggins said last year that if you would have asked him in his teenage years where he'd be at this stage in his life, he would have said the NFL. But rather than finding his way to the league, Wiggins says that boxing found him after his grandfather's best friend introduced him to the sport and showed him the ropes the same way he did for his grandpa. It's been nothing but tough yardage for Wiggins to this point in his boxing career, as he's been tasked with multiple undefeated prospects, including Olympian Nishan Dev, who stopped him in the first round. Tonight, he rolls the dice once more in Sin City, looking for a much better outcome.
And now, making his way to the ring, please welcome Joseph Brown.
Well, there isn't just buzz about the 19-year-old Joseph Brown now that he's a 7-0 prospect. There's been a buzz about him since the very first time he stepped in a boxing ring. In Brown's first amateur fight in his homeland of Canada, he scored a 10-second knockout, which at the time was reported as the fastest amateur knockout ever, next to Mike Tyson. A year before that, he received his Taekwondo black belt just 11 months after starting his training, and according to Brown, he's never lost in any official fighting discipline. Brown is well on his way to becoming the first mainstream star to come out of Vancouver, BC since the Silk Michael Elijah Day in the 80s, as he gets a taste of the big stage on tonight's pay-per-view prelims.
And we continue our card here at T-Mobile Las Vegas. This is Put Up or Shut Up, Rolly versus Teo. PBC pay-per-view on DAZN and Prime Video. We are sponsored by DraftKings, the crown is yours, and Paramount Pictures, By Any Means. Get tickets for By Any Means, only in theaters September 4th. This bout is scheduled for 6 rounds, just above the super welterweight limit. Judges ringside, Kermit Bayless, Glenn Feldman, and David Sutherland. Your referee in charge of the action, Robert Hoyle. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black and gray trunks. He has a professional record of 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. He weighed in at 156.8 pounds. Fighting out of Modesto, California, here is Alton Wiggins. And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing orange and blue trunks. He has a professional record of 7 wins, no defeats, 5 wins by knockout. He weighed in at 157.4 pounds. Fighting out of Vero Beach, Florida, here is the undefeated Joseph the Prodigy Brown.
Okay. Chief second. No, come over here. Come over here. Okay, I went over your instructions in the dressing room. Punches that land here are good. Punches that land here are good. Obey my commands. Give me a good, clean fight. Scoot back.
Ready for our second fight of the prelim portion of tonight's event. Excited to get another look at Joseph Brown. We heard announced from his birthplace of Vero Beach, Florida, but his parents, Martin and Melissa, moved the family to Canada, to Vancouver, BC. Parents had just $700 in their pocket when they moved to Canada, and his dad said he had a dream that one day his son would grow up and train with the Mayweathers, that he would be endorsed by the Mayweathers. Basically everything he dreamt, Malik, to this point has actually come true.
It has. Yes, it did happen. Floyd actually signed him. He was, I'm not sure it's still, but I know for sure he comes from the TMT background. Every time I've seen this young man fight, he has impressed me. I watched him fight going forward. I watched him fight going backwards. Whether he's engaging or disengaging, he's a handful to deal with. He's very talented all-around fighter thus far. And I'm looking forward to see, not too much what he do tonight with this opponent, but how he do it. I've seen Wiggins fight before. Only seen him fight one time when he fought Nishan Dev, and we know how that fight went. But we're going to see what happens. But I'm very impressed with Joseph.
Yeah, Wiggins feels that he's improved since that Dev fight, and last time out, he did go the 4-round distance with Javier Guerrero, who's a 6-0 undefeated prospect. Just got touched with a nice left hook there from Joseph Brown, who I'm going to guess is wearing Naruto-inspired gear here today.
Yes, you
my best guess.
I picked that up immediately. This Joseph Brown kid is a good kid too, like outside the ring. I've met him a couple times. Very humble, extremely hard worker inside the ring. I believe he's actually been with Rolly's camped this fight.
Yes,
with
sparring Rolly,
yes. He's went on record to say, out of everybody he's ever been in the ring with, Rolly is the hardest puncher. That's not shocking. You know, we all know Rolly can punch, but he went on record to say he's the hardest puncher he's been in the ring with. And you can get where his confidence comes from, being as though he's coming from the TMT background, being in camp with Rolly. Look at Rolly, as he said, like a big brother. And you can see he's looking to punch in between punches right now, which is always a good thing coming from young fighters.
Getting good work with Rolly and Abel Mendoza in that gym as well. And you know, it's nice to see fighters like Brown. Of course, he's spent time with the Mayweathers and now time with Ismail Salas. Just, you know, picking and getting pieces of advice from all of the masters of the sport. Yes, and
you have to realize something, Corey. The more you learn in this game, the better you are. You want to be a complete fighter. You take resources from everybody, especially the ones that have been there.
It's a constant education.
Absolutely, and that's what this young man has been doing. And you can even see just in his makeup, in his stance, his reflexes, things that you know you only can see in someone that is basically a gym rat, someone that's always trying to learn. He disengaged good with his feet. He step up. He's not in flight. He's not running, but he's also not in punch range for his opponent to hit him.
Clash of heads there.
Right there, yeah.
Somewhat of an inevitability when you have a southpaw and an orthodox fighter, so we finally get that out of the way. And we get round one out of the way as we head back to the corners.
Start using the left one. Start using more. Okay, calm down. Stay on that jab like you're doing. I want to see more to the body because you're going to hit. And then follow with it too. Okay.
A former unified heavyweight world champion Andy Ruiz is back on the big stage with his sights set on more world title honors. You can catch the start of that journey back to the top Friday, September 4th. You can watch the fight live on DAZN worldwide and also on TNT in the United States. Andy Ruiz back in action against Damian Niba on September 4th. And Joseph Brown and Alton Wiggins are back to action here as round two begins. This one's scheduled for 6. Good composed start here from Joseph Brown. And Malik, you've been pointing out the footwork of Joseph Brown. And one thing that we've seen over the years, guys that had a little bit of a Taekwondo background in their childhood, one thing they're so good at is that stepping in and out. It's just a fluidity with their feet, and you can see it in Joseph Brown here tonight.
Yes, and Corey, Joseph has also done Muay Thai, Taekwondo, I believe another art. When I went and did some research on him, he's covered all over MMA.
He's lost none of them.
Yeah. You could see it like when he fight and when he trained that his feet is always in the proper space, and at times when he do come out of position, you could tell it's coming from the other arts. Like sometimes he gets square, but in Muay Thai, you know, they have to square up with their feet. So sometimes that happens. But I want to point on something right now, Corey. I've been very impressed so far with Wiggins' composure. Especially, you know, I'm going off of my last fight that I seen when he fought
Sean Dev, yeah.
Sean Dev. Yeah, so he didn't come in here like, you know, too radical. He's letting punches go. He's landed some good punches thus far. And like I said, he's very composed, stand behind his front knee, got his hands in a good position. And, you know, he didn't get the memo. He's not coming in here to just give this to Joseph.
No, it's a really good point. And that's always the thing with fighters like Wiggins, a guy who only had a handful of amateur fights. He was 5-2-1, and then takes that knockout loss to Nishant Dev. And the industry kind of decides who they think you are, but Alton Wiggins has decided that I'm still improving, I'm still learning.
Absolutely, and I'm thus far, you know, impressed with him, or impressed with his comeback from that type of loss. He just, you know, he came in here, it seemed like he approached this fight as if he had a real chance, which means he didn't get the memo on what it's set up for.
Good work there from Wiggins.
Yes, he's pushing the initiative. He's not making silent agreements in the inside. You know, he's trying to get his hands out in the fight. Look, his hands is in a good position. He's not overcommitting. You know, he's punching with bad intentions. You know, good feint. He think he could win this thing, and you could tell. Good body shot.
Right hand to the body there from Joseph Brown. Again, using that quick footwork.
I would like to see some more feints from Joseph Brown. I want to see him to create what I know he's trying to do, and that's stop Wiggins, but I would like to see him create it with some feints. Feint up, feint down, change levels. You know, make Wiggins overcommit so then you can make him pay on the first and third move.
About 15 seconds here in round 2. Lead hand of Wiggins. The bladed southpaw stance to this point has sort of nullified the jab of Joseph Brown. Some try to double up with it. Lands a good right hand to the body and a nice left hook. That'll be the final word of round 2.
Okay, lock. Lean back. Let's get a little more aggressive, okay? Start getting a little more aggressive. Give me your close. You start working that left hand more. Okay. Start throwing more coming in. You're waiting too much. Give your head back. Be aggressive. No, you still need. That can work. Lean back. Make it work for that beat. This is the second round. This is the third round coming up. Be aggressive. See now? Get that left hand. Get that reload to the body. Straight across your chest. So first up and in with the jab, double up the chest. They can work. So the difference is the distance. Let me have a look to the chest. Look at me, Austin. Look at me. There you go.
Seconds out. Round 3.
Round 3 underway. The 6th round super welterweight contest between the undefeated Joseph Brown and Alton Wiggins. Joseph Brown getting another opportunity on another major undercard. Of course, we've seen him on the Barrios Pacquiao undercard where he scored a shutout win over Aaron Watson. And as we talked about in our show open as well, Malik, when you see prospects on these types of undercards, it's usually an indication of who the promoter, who the industry thinks is going to be up next.
Absolutely, and it's up to the opponent. Like I just said, Wiggins, you know, he's not coming in here, you know, sticking to the script, or he didn't get the memo. And that right there, to me, is a good thing for him, but it'll let you know where the prospects at, where the young fighters are at, because they're not getting someone that's coming in here laying down. They're giving someone that is in here giving a good effort and testing them, testing their physical, testing their character, testing everything.
Right there, don't do it. Let's go, come on.
Wiggins' trainer told him something that I thought was very important in the corner. He said, start jabbing at his chest, start throwing punches at his chest. And he's saying that because good left hand right there that hit.
Yeah, right on the button there from Wiggins. That might have been the best left hand that he's landed in this fight so far.
Like I was saying, he was telling him to, you know, just punch at his arms, punch at his chest. That's because Joseph is not doing no feinting. He just almost, you know, what they call in boxing, taking a picture. When you're just in front of your opponent, you know, you're not doing that. Right there, he got hit with a jab. And that's because he's moving his body a bit, but his head is kind of still there on the center.
Yeah, you could see him a moment ago kind of thinking about maybe turning the corner, pivoting a little bit, but you're right. He is in front of Wiggins right now.
Yeah, good. He's moving his head there.
Final minute of round 3. Not a bad round for Alton Wiggins here. The right hand to the body from Brown.
Joseph is smothering his work a bit sometimes. He's landing good straight right hands to the body or up top, but then he gets so close that he's smothering his work that he can't even land 2 or 3, 4 more good shots.
Quick combination there from Brown. Left hand snuck in. The other 3 punches did not, as Wiggins was able to slide off the ropes and out of harm's way as 20 seconds remain here in round 3.
See, Joseph, he's just approaching with no head movement, waiting a bit too long. You know, if you want to go forward, you got to respect somebody when you're going into their house. At least move your head, show defense. You can't, because you'll end up walking into a punch.
It's a very sudden switch to the southpaw stance at the end of the round there from Joseph Brown. We'll see if he comes out in that in about a minute's time as we listen in. A reminder, at 5 p.m. Pacific time, It is Rolly and Teofimo, the pay-per-view portion of tonight's broadcast. You can buy it now at DAZN.com.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. He's coming in with a fucking headlock. So shoot your uppercuts, front uppercut, rear uppercut. Okay? But I want you to keep fucking hitting and going to the left. Hit and go to the left. Elbow up on the left side. Just fucking flying on that side, okay?
Mouthpiece. Mouthpiece. Take it. Round 3. 4. Round 4.
Round 4 underway. Heard Brown in the corner, expressing a little frustration with Wiggins using his head. And, you know, Malik, when you're watching and when you're calling fights like this, there's kind of two things that you're looking at. You're viewing this through the lens, first and foremost, of who's winning the rounds, but also through the lens of what is a fighter like Joseph Brown learning here tonight. And on top of the slight difficulties that Wiggins is giving him, he's in there with a grown man who's willing to rough him up a little bit, right?
Yes, and then sometimes it's like this, Corey, like, you know, what is he in here learning? He's learning he have to figure things out. He's learning he have to create knockouts. You have to create stoppages. When you're in with an opposition that is not getting the memo, that is not sticking to the script, your creativity have to go to another level. And what do I mean by creativity? That means start feinting down, changing levels, making your opponent switch hand position so you can get good shots in. Like that was a good straight right hand.
Yeah, nice lead right hand. And about 10 seconds before that, there was a nice little combination of the body from Brown as well.
And he's switching targets, what I like. Like that first right hand went to the head, the second one went down. That's what I mean by creating. Don't just aim at the same spot every time when you're doing your offense. Aim at different spots, you know what I mean? You know, confuse your opponent. Good feint. Them the type of believable feints he should be doing. There you go, and you get a good left hook there. You need to keep doing the feints, keep feinting, and make Wiggins' hand switch position so then he can get a good headshot.
You get the sense as well that if Brown wanted to take just one more step forward like he did when he ran that combination to the body, that he might have some success. But you get the feeling like Brown wants to do everything technically sound and is perhaps thinking a little bit harder than he's had to in some of his previous fights.
Yes, and I think we're saying the same thing right there, Corey. Like you're saying that, and I'm saying he's like overcrowding himself. It's because if he take that second step or that second initiative to be offensive, he probably, I wouldn't say stop him, but he could start pushing towards that. But he's doing one offense effort, and that's just not going to get him to make a statement, the kind of statement he want to make tonight. You have to go 2 or 3 times when you're dealing with guys that don't want to be knocked out. Wiggins don't want to be knocked out tonight. He don't want to stick to a script, so you got to make them. Some guys you could stop, but some guys you can make quit, and he has to make Wiggins quit tonight if this is what he wants to do.
It'll be a tall task because Wiggins is now, I mean, he has gathered 4 rounds of confidence as well. You know, he's been competitive in these rounds. There takes a nice right hand that snaps the head back, and the heads come together.
I actually like that right there with Wiggins, what Joseph is doing. He got real physical with his forearm after landing a good shot. But I would say, like, it's time to start stepping on the gas. Like, almost like put your hands up and step to this man, like George Foreman style. Walk to this man, let him know that no matter what you do, I'm coming forward, and put offense behind it.
Clean. Keep it clean. I'm going to talk to him as well.
Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Yes, sir. Deep breath.
Lean back. Deep breath. Deep breath. Lay down so I get that mouth. Let the mouthpiece out there. You okay? No?
I got it.
Okay. Okay.
I got it. Move it, sir. Come on. Let's go. We have to work. Let's start working. Let's go for it. Come on. We're waiting too much on this guy, man. Stop. Lips.
Round 5 begins, and Joseph Brown, which he previewed a couple of rounds ago, coming out in the southpaw stance.
Yes.
See how comfortable he looks as a lefty. It's always interesting, Malik, when you see a guy turned southpaw who commonly fights as an orthodox fighter, what I'm looking for is how is their defense as a lefty, first and foremost?
Because that count more, actually, that's more important than the offense that you're going to give out as a southpaw. Because if you can't defend yourself as a southpaw, I don't think it's a good idea to turn southpaw. But like I told you, what I want to see him do, Corey, is like step on the gas. We see you got the skills. We see you got the craft. We see you got the look. Like now is almost cleanup time. You know what I mean? At least push the initiative to get to stoppage. Push the initiative. Let's see a knockdown. Let's see a stagger. Because if it continue to go like this at this pace right here, then it just never no telling, yeah, he's winning, but is he looking special? And you want to look special when you have a stage like this to perform on.
Oh, nice left hook there from Brown. Just walked Wiggins into that. You saw the high step beforehand, so he's starting to show a little attitude in the ring and starting to step towards Wiggins a little bit.
Yes.
That steps out with a beautiful check left hook.
It's the second and third effort he's going to need to get what he's trying to get, and that's the stoppage and knockout. Look, he can't just do one form of offense. He got to go 2 or 3 times. Now he have to go again, and then again. There you go. He have to continue to do that.
Yeah, I was about to say, this looks a lot more like the posture you want to see from him, even when he was at longer range. The high guard, working his way to the inside now. And he might be aided by the fact that Wiggins' corner, justifiably, they're telling him, hey, you need to turn it up. You probably need a knockout at this point. So he might have an opponent, right, who is going to be aggressive in front of him as well.
Mm-hmm. Which is a good thing for him, because that could allow Wiggins to possibly walk into something.
Closing in on the final minute here of round 5.
Even Wiggins should be fainting some more too as well. Like, you know what I mean? You're here believing in yourself. You're not here to stick to a script. Get more offensive minded.
Nice right hand again there for
But we need the second and third effort after that. We don't need time to just, yes, there you go.
Brown showing some of that athleticism, leaping in with that right hand. And there was a left hook that snuck in there as well. But good work from Wiggins there on the inside, just using his toughness, using his strength. Get Brown back out on the outside as the seconds tick away here in the 5th.
10 seconds.
You see the confidence in Brown building, but will the volume come with it in the final round as the heads nearly come together once more? 3 minutes to go in this one as we head back to the stools.
Last round's coming out. You got something? I got you. Appreciate it.
Get back on your bicycle and fucking dance. Okay? Move around. You know how you move around, throwing those jabs, moving around.
Keep stepping to your right. Keep stepping to your right. You want to go get this? Yes, sir. We got to go this. We got to go out there. Let's go. Let's go. But we should be smarter. 3. Last round. Okay, fine. Rock out. Let's do that. Come on. AT, baby.
Come on, Joe. There we go.
6th and final round. As Joseph Brown dances his way towards Alton Wiggins here to kick the round off. Nice right hand there from Brown.
Yeah, we need a second and third effort after that. There's too much space in between the offense, and that allows Wiggins to sometimes recuperate. If he was hurt, he has time to get himself back together. It's been almost 12 seconds since that last combination. Brown trainer actually told him to, I believe he said in the corner, get on your bicycle, move. I don't believe he should do that. Like I said, I think he should put his hands up, walk to him, try to close the show, push the initiative for a stoppage, and, really stop going with the pop shot or the one effort offense type of thing.
And, you know, every once in a while there are corners that specifically want their fighter to get rounds. And we know that, you know, Brown is early in his career. He's young. He's coming off a first-round knockout victory in Mexico, so he's probably had a couple training camps where he felt like he didn't get the payoff. But at the same time, as you've been pointing out, you're on a particular stage where you'd love to get that Instagram reel highlight, right?
Yes, Corey, especially, okay, it's the 6th round now. It's 6 out of 6. So we'll say, like, all right, you got rounds in.
You got your time
in, 4 or 5 rounds in. Let's pick up the pace, you know, and close the show. And we'll say even if he tried to close the show and it don't happen, look, right there, take the initiative. I love what he's doing there. Wiggins is trying to hold. He's working the free hand. He's being rough, not making silent agreements. That's a good space for him right there. As soon as the ref move, he should step back up and proceed with more offense.
Less than a minute left to go in this contest. Brown showboating a little bit. About half a minute left to go in this contest, and this is what you've been waiting for. This frame defense to lock Wiggins down.
And when Wiggins goes to hold, continue to use your forearms. Get him off of you. Let you know the ref is here to do a job. Give him a job to do.
Just missing with that right hand, but that uppercut didn't, and neither did that one. Brown coming alive in the closing moments of this contest.
Go!
And he will run it out as the blood runs from the nose of Alton Wiggins after one of those 2 big right hands in the final 15 seconds of the fight.
Got him headbutt. Yeah, I got it.
And Wiggins is saying it was from a headbutt. There were many of those as well, especially as Brown was leaping in with those right hands.
And it also was a lot of punches landed, too.
Yeah, there were a couple of those.
I wasn't trying to headbutt you.
Crowd starting to file in here at the T-Mobile Arena in anticipation of our big main event coming up later on. Teofimo Lopez and Rolly Romero, as Romero puts his WBA welterweight title on the line. He got ready for that fight, at least in part by sparring this man, Joseph Brown. And you can see how Brown could do a nice little Teofimo impersonation in sparring, right? He's got those movements.
Oh, yes, he has the athleticism, you know, got the hands down. He's a switch hitter. He goes southpaw. Yes, I think it's a very good look.
September 19th, DAZN presents a classic Mexico versus Puerto Rico matchup as Isaac Pitbull Cruz puts his interim WBC super lightweight title on the line against Nestor Bravo. You can watch it as part of your regular DAZN subscription. Always excited to see Pitbull Cruz back in the ring, one of the most popular Mexican fighters in the world. Maybe one of the best pure action fighters in the world as well. And it looks like we are ready with the decision as we hand it back to Curran Bhatia.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards. All 3 judges are in agreement, 60-54. The winner, by unanimous decision, Joseph Brown!
So Joseph Brown picks up the unanimous decision victory, a shutout across the board, and one of those shutouts, Malik, where, yes, he did win every round, but there are things that he can learn from all those rounds looking back at this fight as well.
Absolutely, and I would say, you know, at the top of the list, what he can learn off of a fight like this is learn to be creative. When you have an opponent in there that's not coming to lay down, that is also trying, you have to create the knockout. You have to build it. How do you build it? With feints, a good jab, cutting off the ring better. And I would also say take the playing out and put in more craft during that time. This stage is not, it doesn't last forever. So when you on these type of stages, you have to take full advantage and make sure you allowing people to remember your name.
Of course, coming up later on tonight, the WBA welterweight title is on the line, but next Saturday in London, Moses Itauma will get his first shot at a world title, which would make him the second youngest heavyweight in history to achieve that milestone.
Good morning. DAZN have announced that boxer Moses Itauma could make history
as the youngest British heavyweight champion ever.
Are you ready to die?
Ready to make history, sunshine?
Hold it there. Perfect. For the poster.
So you're better than Tyson, are you? Ladies and gentlemen, for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship, live on DAZN.
August 29th will be the start of something special.
You ready?
Witness history. August 29th, Moses versus Hrgovic for the heavyweight world title. Live exclusively on DAZN Saturday Fight Night.
That's right, Saturday, August 29th. It's a heavyweight world title fight for the history books as Moses Itauma can become the second youngest heavyweight world champ ever as he faces El Animal, Filip Hrgovic, with a vacant IBF belt on the line. You can buy that now at DAZN.com/boxing. Then, Friday, September 4th, the former unified heavyweight champion Andy Ruiz is back in action in New Jersey against Damian Niba. As mentioned, September 19th, Pitbull Cruz puts his interim WBC super lightweight title on the line against Nestor Bravo. And then the legend, Canelo Alvarez, begins his journey back to super middleweight supremacy. And his first target is Christian Mbili for the WBC belt, live on DAZN, October 31st. And we are ready to keep the action rolling here in Vegas as we hand it back to our MC, Karan Bhatia.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for 8 rounds, just above the middleweight limit. Making his way to the ring from Chattanooga, Tennessee, please welcome Khalil Mitchell.
Well, it's a big weekend for Chattanooga boxing as Avius Griffin scored another KO victory last night in Temecula, California. And tonight, his friend Khalil Mitchell hopes to show that he's one to look out for as well. We last saw Mitchell scoring a knockout victory himself over the 327-3 Michael Lamel back home in Chattanooga, but he hasn't been in the ring for 350 days since. That said, he's been plenty busy outside the ring as a hip-hop artist, performing under the name Cleo. You can go check out his new single, Go, which just dropped a few months back, but you can do that after tonight's pay-per-view, of course.
Yes, and I know the single Go is a good track.
It's a good track.
Absolutely, and that's exactly what he's going to need to do tonight. He's going to have to go. And when I say go, he's going to have to let his head be moving by going. He's going to have to let offense go because Romero's not coming to play at all.
And now, making his way to the ring from Olathe, Kansas, please welcome Marco El Tiburon Romero.
Well, when you're named after Marco Antonio Barrera, there's high hopes for your fighting ability from birth, and Marco Romero has yet to disappoint in the amateurs or now in the pros. Romero was a multi-time national amateur champion, compiling a 136-5 record, and now the 20-year-old has been tearing through tough competition at an alarming rate, racking up 12 knockouts in his 14 victories. Romero has been guided by John Brown, who knows a thing or two about developing and maneuvering hard hitters, having done so with Tommy Morrison back in the 90s. Much like during Morrison's ascent, the questions surrounding Romero are less about if, but when he'll get his big opportunity, as he looks to prove tonight that he's ready for a top 10 contender by year's end, as is his wish, and a spot in the title picture by 2027. We're ready to meet the fighters. Let's send it back up to Curran.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to you live from the T-Mobile in Las Vegas. This is Put Up or Shut Up, Rolly versus Teofimo. PBC pay-per-view, live on DAZN and Prime Video. We are sponsored by DraftKings, the crown is yours. And Paramount Pictures, By Any Means. Get tickets for By Any Means, only in theaters September 4th. Our next bout is scheduled for 8 rounds, just above the middleweight limit. Judges ringside, Tim Cheatham, Chris Flores, and Jack Reese. Referee controlling the action, Alan Huggins. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue trunks. He has a professional record of 6 wins, 1 loss, 4 wins by knockout. He weighed in at 164 pounds. Fighting out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, riding back-to-back knockout wins. Here is Khalil Killa Mitchell! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black and white trunks. He has a professional record of 14 wins, no losses, 12 wins by knockout. He weighed in at 164 pounds. Proudly representing Olathe, Kansas, the 2024 National Golden Gloves champion. Here is the undefeated Marco El Tiburon Romero.
Okay, gentlemen, you've both been given the instructions. Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. From here on up is good. From here on up is good. Touch gloves. Good luck to you both.
We are ready to go with the final fight of the prelim portion of tonight's event. Of course, Rolly Romero in our main event and the de facto main event of the prelims. Headlined by Marco Romero taking on Khalil Mitchell, 8-round middleweight action. Here's some of the chance for Marco Romero, certainly a prospect on the verge of being a contender. We mentioned during his ring walk where he wants to be by year's end, and if that's where you want to be, a lot of people would expect it. Marco Romero is going to do a number on Khalil Mitchell here tonight.
Absolutely. And, Corey, I'm going to tell you what he is going to do. He has every intention on going to the body. Every time I see Romero fight, what I'm always impressed with the most is his body attack. And why is that important to me? Because when you see young fighters and they first choice is to invest down to the body, that always showed maturity to me at a very, because we all want to hit people into the head, but he understands the breakdown system. He understands the creativity that we talked about.
Oh, big right hand, and that one nearly turned Mitchell inside out. He's trying to recover now with his back in his own corner, but that was a rocket of a right hand there from Marco Romero. We've been touting the power, and you saw it in the opening minute.
Romero is very patient too. You see how he's stalking his prey, just taking his time. His hands is in a good position. Good right hand. He's going to get to that body.
Of course, being from Kansas, Marco Romero looked up to guys like Brandon Rios and Victor Ortiz, but the stance and the cadence, the power, it looks almost Virgil Ortiz-esque. As Romero wailing away here, Khalil Mitchell just trapped in the corner.
Now he's having a great moment, and now this is where you see the maturity of young fighters. His chin is still tucked. He's stepping up, proper space still in between his feet. He's not going wild. He knows he has his opponent hurt, but he's doing it the professional way, taking his time, creeping up on him, stalking him properly, chin down, going to the body.
Hard body shot, a clubbing right hand there from Romero, who is just mauling Khalil Mitchell here in the opening round.
He did a nice shift with his feet there to create some space. Mitchell has took some good shots thus far.
The right hand.
He went southpaw from the offense and is getting busy there too.
Romero just doing anything he wants here on the inside. Getting full torque on these shots, doubling up on the left hook, and the referee steps in. Absolute destruction from Marco Romero.
That's how you make a statement. That's how you make a statement as a young fighter. You don't come in and play with your food. He didn't play with his food at all. And right from the rip, he showed patience. The first shot went to the head, that hurt him, but then he mixed the attack up, went to the body, stalked him properly. I was very impressed. Good job.
This one ended too early to get into all the Marco Romero accolades. You know, the power, it's evident for me. The thing that told me that this guy's for real, taking out William Langston, going the distance, a guy that gave Moreno Fendero, another top prospect, a guy that he sparred with, went to his camp. Langston gave Fendero genuine trouble in that fight. Marco Romero had no trouble with Langston, and you see what he could do against a guy like Khalil Mitchell, who is just overmatched here tonight.
Absolutely, and here it is again. Khalil Mitchell didn't come to do it just happen.
No, of course not.
He was made to do it just happen, and that's what I was trying to say from the last fight with Joseph Brown.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say. Like, no, don't play with your food. When you got these guys in here that is, not getting the memo, not sticking to the script, make them stick to the script. Impose yourself. Right off the rip, Romero came imposing himself with his chin down, went to the head, went to the body, start making small shifts with his feet to get more room on his shots. It was a great performance, and that's how a young fighter is supposed and should make a statement on a stage like this.
So another impressive performance from Marco Romero, the 13th knockout of his young pro career. We expect many more to come as we are ready to make this one official. We'll hand it back up to Curran Bhatia.
I'm about to. Let's go.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Alan Huggins stops the contest at 2 minutes and 33 seconds of round one. Your winner by technical knockout and still undefeated, Marco El Tiburon Romero!
Win number 15, knockout number 13. For Marco Romero, you could certainly hop on that hype train now.
Absolutely, and it's not what you do, it's how you do it.
Congratulations, Marco.
How he performed there was
no
very
time
good.
At all in there. First fight in Las Vegas, Kansas native though, not in Kansas anymore. You said it was a dream of yours to fight in Las Vegas. What did it mean for you to come out victorious and with a showing like that?
No, well, first off, I just want to thank all the beautiful people from Las Vegas. Just know it's the new era of El Tiburon. But man, I'm super excited to be here. I want to thank PBC for the opportunity, for signing me. You guys aren't going to regret this at all.
Yeah, you mentioned that, signed with PBC. Also, you've been very active. Another quick stoppage for you. How soon can we expect to see you back on a big card like this?
As soon as possible. I'm ready. Put me on that Pitbull undercard. Whenever it is, I'm ready.
Yeah, and look, your name, Marco, obviously your father named you after the great Marco Antonio Barrera. You said that's a lot to live up to. How do you kind of feel with that kind of, Mexican heritage in your family and living up to that pressure?
No, I'm just super grateful. I just want to thank everybody, toda mi gente de Michoacán y Guanajuato, que viva México, cabrones. And I was just super proud to be able to represent my country and my roots. And man, just keep watching. Stay tuned.
Well, thank you very much, Marco. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's go.
Thank you so much, Justin. Marco Romero racking up another knockout victory. He is one to watch. He thinks he could be in contention by year's end and maybe fighting for a world title next year. And certainly you'd love to have this kind of infusion of excitement in the middleweight division. But tonight's main event coming up a little bit later on DAZN pay-per-view. It's the final piece of the puzzle. PBC joins DAZN, and tonight we kick things off with a Las Vegas showdown between Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez for the WBA World Welterweight title. You can buy the pay-per-view now at DAZN.com/boxing or sign up to DAZN Ultimate to bundle all our pay-per-view and subscription events for one great price. As Marco Romero makes his way to the back. Let's touch on this fight a little bit more. I mean, Marco Romero just absolutely dominating Khalil Mitchell. And I pointed out during that fight, am I off base in seeing a little bit of Virgil Ortiz in his approach?
No, not at all, especially when he was on the attack, which basically he came out. But sometimes when you see fighters on the attack, they do it from a gung-ho way where they're throwing wild punches. He actually reminded me of like an early Pitbull Cruz, chin tuck. You barely could see their neck, and he went right to work. So it was a great finish. It was a great statement. He really got it done. The first shot he landed there was the right hand. But look, he kept his chin down. You know, picked his shots, touch, went to the body. Even when he was doing the pressure, he still was always in the position to fire. Beautiful Larry Holmes style, measuring your guy off, then ripping him with the right hand. No silent agreements in the inside, not letting his opponent tie him up. That was a decision to make. And when you see young fighters make decisions like this, you got to commend him because, you know, right here could have been a time he allowed his opponent to clinch him, and it would have stopped his knockout. It would have stopped his statement victory. He didn't allow that, and he got the job done.
An outstanding performance from Marco Romero. We mentioned that win over William Langston, but there's also on his resume, and this still means something even in 2026. If you can get Vaughn Alexander out of there, that still means something even now.
Absolutely, because I believe also Vaughn is someone else too. He definitely don't stick to no script. And I hate to keep reiterating this, but it makes so much sense when it comes to these young fighters. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. It's not, you know, the way you eat your food. It's you're not playing with your food at all. When you get the opposition in trouble on these big stages, you have to take advantage of it and get these guys out of here because, one, the financial revenue ladder determines from this performance. Your next opportunity determines from this performance. And sometimes I done seen fighters go the distance and have to go 4 more fights as an 8-rounder because people looking at him still as the promoters like, oh, he still need to develop. When you look at that young man perform right there how Romero did, you already start thinking, he's going to be possibly a world champion or in title contentions pretty soon. That's how you not play with your food and make a statement. I was very impressed.
Yeah, we mentioned the top of that economic ladder, and of course that features names like Rolly Romero, like Teofimo Lopez, guys who were once in this position as prospects. And there was a time not that long ago where there was kind of this influx of young talent of Teofimo and Rolly and Ryan and Shakur, and we kind of had this idea that it was an inevitability that there would sort of be a round robin with all of them. But there was one fight that we didn't think that we would get, and it's the one we're seeing in our main event because Teofimo and Rolly were friends. That friendship seems to have disintegrated totally. It certainly it got down to a point where Teofimo was willing to fight Rolly Romero, but now it seems like friendship is totally out the window.
Yes, I'm sure if they could have picked other opponents for each other, it's so much out there on the crop of opponents and champions and other contenders, they would have. But this is a business, and both of these guys have family, and both of these guys want to continue to build their legacy. So this is things that you have to do sometimes. You have to fight friends. You have to put yourself at risk or take yourself out of a vulnerable position and just take a chance with your own career, with your own legacy, because what you don't want to do if you really love your friend or if he's really your friend, like Mike Tyson said, you'll fight him. Because this is how your friend become better in life, concerning legacy, concerning finance for his family. So I'm sure neither one of these guys want to take it personal. And I'm sure this is not going to be a stinker because this fight, the makeup of it says everything that is not going to be boring. This is not going to be a stinker fight. These guys are going to come in here and get it. And Rolly, to me, punched very much too hard for this to possibly be a stinker. It just can't happen. The fans could look forward to something spectacular tonight because I know I am.
Yeah, and absolutely unpredictable on both sides, and that's part of the excitement as well, right? There's the action in the ring, and there's the what to expect in the main event. Well, to dissect a little more of what we can expect in the main event, let's take a closer look at both fighters.
On August 22nd, live from Las Vegas, Nevada, and worldwide on DAZN, two friends will enter the ring, but only one will leave a champion.
You got two champions.
Teofimo is half crazy.
Super fast, super twitchy, excellent counterpuncher.
Teofimo has no problems. He fights Shakur Stevenson. He loses that fight. He steps right back in there with a friend.
Rolly Romero is the other half crazy.
No, of course not.
Rolly Romero, a chance to defend his WBA title after some personal setbacks.
If it's God's will, Teofimo will be world champion. If it's God's will, I remain champion, continue on my legacy too.
For Teofimo Lopez, a chance at redemption after the toughest loss of his career.
This is what champions go through. I mean, this is life. This is boxing.
Friends now become opponents.
A boxing fight is boxing fight, you know.
You better not sleep on this guy. Don't sleep on this motherfucker. He playing this other character right now.
It's time to put up or shut up.
I'm locked in.
This is Locked In. On July 9th, another boxing mega pay-per-view showdown was announced. As first, Premier Boxing Champions found its new home, with PBC fights coming to DAZN. But also on July 9th, boxing fans got a treat. A fight announcement for the WBA welterweight crown, as friends now become enemies in the boxing ring.
I think that we're at a point in time in my career where everything is at stake. This is my welterweight debut. Looking forward to taking over.
He's my little brother. At the end of it, if I'm to lose this belt or to defend my belt, whatever, I'd rather it be with him than anyone else.
Teofimo and Rolly are friends, but they said, you know what, this is a business too.
Rolly Romero versus Teofimo Lopez. It's a fantastic matchup going down August 22nd, and Rolly will be defending his belt at welterweight. Rolly hasn't been in action for 15 months, and that was when he had the shocking win in Times Square over Ryan Garcia. And so Rolly earned that belt, and he's been waiting for the right opportunity. Enter Teofimo Lopez.
Fighting Rolly is that time. I think he has that vengeance, that type of chip on his shoulder that he wants to prove now to myself that he's better than me. We'll see.
More importantly, it's going to be a good fight. This is a coin flip fight that most people in boxing on the hardcore side think Teofimo is likely favored. About 66% probability chance that Teofimo wins.
You have two contrasting styles. They know one another. They know one another's styles, but sparring is different from an actual fight.
We know one another enough to know what triggers us. We know possibly secrets that people don't know.
He only wants the biggest. He only wants dangerous opponents because he knows that that's what's going to elevate his game.
I want a big fight. Like I said, who else is there that can make me a big fight in this sport? I want to do something. I want to do something for my legacy. I don't care about anything else. I want to make sure that I get in the Hall of Fame.
It all goes down August 22nd, live on DAZN, the global home of boxing. It's time to put up or shut up.
Rolando Rolly Teofimo
A fascinating main event coming up a little bit later on DAZN pay-per-view. Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez as Romero puts his WBA World Welterweight title on the line. But that's not all. Yoenli Hernandez, the Cuban standout in middleweight action against the double tough Francisco Varone, who has been on a roll as of late. The WBA Interim Super Bantamweight title is on the line as Victor Santillan and Gary Antonio Russell will go at it with big implications in the 122-pound division. And we'll kick things off with one of the hottest prospects in the sport today. Fresh off his victory in the WBC Grand Prix in Saudi Arabia, Carlos Utria takes the biggest step up of his career against Israel Mercado. With the fans still filing in here at the T-Mobile Arena as we march towards the pay-per-view portion of our broadcast. Corey Erdman and Malik Scott still with you here ringside as we head towards the top of the hour. And so many storylines are beneath this main event between Rolly and Teofimo. And heading into every Teofimo Lopez fight, there is always that discussion about the relationship between he and his father, both relationship just as two individuals, but also as fighter and trainer. And it felt a little bit tumultuous in the build-up to this fight. We saw Teofimo and his father on the Mr. Versace podcast with Rick Reno. It has been very out in the open. It hasn't really been behind closed doors, but they feel like maybe they needed to get that out of their system, to kind of make it public, to address that openly. What is your read on kind of the temperature of the relationship between Teo and his father?
I think losses in boxing shine the light on a lot. I think if Teo didn't lose to Shakur, I don't think this thing between him and his father would be such a big thing. But saying that, I also think that at one time they had an incredible chemistry that it came across in the Shakur fight. Like, they may don't have that no more. Only time will tell. The father and son relationship in boxing has always been a 50-50. Roy Jones left his father. Zab Judah stayed with his father. So many other fighters that this has happened with that has success. It's just a coin flip when it comes to father-son relationship in boxing when it's concerning coach and fighter. You have to, in my opinion, Bill Haney has done it the best thus far because he allowed his son to get better and him to step back.
Right.
And he still has been in control and still have been partners with his son, but he had a understanding that, no, I want my son to be better. There's people that have knowledge that I don't have. I'm going to put him in a place around good people to give him the knowledge.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that made this partnership great during Lopez's highlights, of course, the Lomachenko win, the Josh Taylor win, was that his father and them together, they had an utterly unwavering self-belief, the kind of self-belief that can only really come from a parent. And it'll be interesting to see if Lopez can get that back. Again, coming off a loss to Shakur Stevenson that you described as a little bit humbling.
Yes, and, you know, in my personal opinion, I don't care if he had Emmanuel Stewart, his father, Angelo Zinti, and everybody in his corner against Shakur. I think stylistically that fight just doesn't work in his favor. And I also want to point out something else, Corey. You know, our coaches could tell us whatever it is. The coaches could say whatever it is they want in the corner. Teo has a bad habit of his lead hand being down, but he have had so much success with it that people overlook it. Shakur went in there and basically beat him because his lead hand is down. Josh Taylor had tons of success with him because his lead hand down. Arnold Bobosa, when he did touch him, because his lead hand is down. That's not something to me your father should have to remind you of, or whoever your coach is. You've been boxing long enough to say, I'm not hearing that from my coach, but I know I have to get it up. Why? Because I have a left eye that's bleeding. I keep getting hit with a jab. I keep getting hit with a right hand. So a lot of the responsibility have to come on the fighter as well. You know what I mean? His father can get in his ear, or Milton can get in his ear, or Stacey McKinley can get in his ear and tell him whatever it is they want. The fighter have to go out there and execute.
And there has always been that question about Teofimo Lopez in terms of how comfortable is he if he has to lead the dance, so to speak, if he has to be on the lead foot. There have been times when he's seemed less comfortable doing that than when he's doing what I think he's naturally best at, letting the fight come to him and being able to counter.
Yes, and that's why people love that fight with Arnold Barboza, because he basically let the fight come to him. When he's like that, he's extremely elusive. You could see his athleticism a mile away, and when he's coming forward to me, he's a bit more in danger, especially why I hate to keep saying this, because he come forward a little bit as if he's taking things for granted. Lead hand down. Sometimes his chin is over his front knee. Sometimes he play around too much, chin over his front knee, hands down at the same time. And in my opinion, when you're dealing with fast fighters and twitchy fighters at the weight class that he is in, you can't afford that. So we're going to see it. And against Rolly, I think that could be very dangerous. So He should only be focusing on letting in. But even at the weight class, you can't tell me the last time you've seen Tia really knock somebody out. Remember, he used to have the highlight reel knockouts and do the backflips. We haven't seen that since he moved up. So, and I think Romero will take a better punch now since he's moved up to this weight class. He was smaller when, you know, he got hit by Tank and those guys right there. So, you know, we're just going to see it's a good fight, but I'm not shocked by nothing Rolly succeed at in this fighting game. He's the most disrespected champion in boxing to me. He's not slow. He punches hard, fast, twitchy at times, and if he hits you, you're definitely going to feel it.
Yeah, he used the word most disrespected champion, and it was interesting, you know, turning the attention to his trainer partnership with Ismael Salas. Salas said in an interview with The Good Fighter earlier this week, he said something to the effect of Rolly succeeds despite his technical limitations.
Yes.
And there is kind of an individuality to Romero's style. I don't know that you can liken it to anyone else's in the sport. There are certainly pops of different fighters in the sport, as we look at Lamont Roach getting here early as well. But Romero really dances to his own beat in the ring.
Yes, absolutely. You know, not to put identical, you could say, other fighters with him, but, you know, the relentless style, hard punching style of Ricardo Mayorga, Domingo Rodan back in the day when he
rhythms that are hard to figure out.
Absolutely, and they're very unorthodox, but you have to respect it because the power is there. You can't. There's a reason that Ryan Garcia didn't just walk through Rolly. I don't care what he was going through in his life or what excuses people want to say. Why didn't he just go gung-ho and just start going in there and throwing left hooks? One, because Rolly defense for the left hook was on that night. Two, Rolly, if you cross that line, there's a price to pay. Ryan didn't want to cross that line. Gervonta Davis didn't want to cross that line until he actually weakened them up a little bit, and then he made him run into something. So there's a reason these guys fight Rolly the way that they do.
Yeah, and as we look back at that win over Ryan Garcia, I think what we saw from Romero in this fight was, again, the ability to stick to a game plan, but a simplistic game plan from Ismael Salas. And of course, when we talk about Rolly Romero, we often use words like enigmatic and unpredictable, but in this fight, there was none of that. He was stoic throughout the fight. Salas knew what needed to be done to take away Garcia's tools, and Romero got it done on this night.
Yes, it was a technically sound performance, Rolly Romero standard, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
Did it look like a Pernell Whitaker, Shakur Stevenson style? No. But that's not his style anyway. But he was very composed. He fought very disciplined. His jab was on the money. His feints was on the money. And he did so much to tame Ryan. He didn't even really put his hands on Ryan besides that one knockdown. And Ryan flew across the ring. This is how strong Rolly is. That hook that actually caught him around his guard, it lifted him up off his feet. Ryan didn't want to deal with that no more. So a lot of people is overlooking Rolly and the system that comes behind him. And when he go back to his corner, he has someone that's giving him great information. We know Ishmael doesn't play around, so.
Right, well, and that trainer rivalry has become a theme.
Yes.
And became a theme at the press conference as well. And obviously, Teofimo's dad, listen, he's raised a 2-division Ring Magazine world champion.
Yes.
But on the other side of this fight, you have Salas, really one of the most respected minds in the sport of boxing. And when you think of Salas, typically your mind immediately goes to guys like Rigo. Of course, the Salas helped kind of foster that Cuban Olympic style, but look at some of the other fighters that he's helped make great. Jorge Linares, Rolly Romero, vastly different fighters that Salas has been able to not just try and ram kind of the Cuban Olympic style down their throats, but has used little aspects of it and has allowed them to develop their own identity in the ring.
Yes, and I also think his numbers, 22, 24 world champions?
I think so, yeah.
And if you look at those guys that he's actually trained, you could see the difference. You could see his system in it. Even if they came to him as top contenders or as world champions, you could see the difference in his system. Ishmael was dedicated to this fight game. He's very passionate about boxing. I've worked with him in London before. He trained me for a few sessions. Just an incredible coach, and the information is going to be there when Rolly go back to the corner. That's not something that we have to think about. That's something that we know for sure.
Well, speaking of guys who know a thing or two about the Cuban School of Boxing, of course, in our co-feature coming up a little bit later on, you see Yoenli Hernandez, who will be taking on Francisco Verón, who, as we mentioned, has been on a nice little 3-fight run since losing to Brandon Adams in the OTX tournament. He, similar to Carlos Utria, had to battle his way through a tournament format. And now tonight taking on Yoenli Hernandez, who is a part of a crop of modern Cuban fighters who don't ascribe to that rubric that we're used to when it comes to Cuban fighters. When you hear Cuban fighter, you think of one thing, kind of using the perimeter of the ring, using check hooks, outstep. Yes. Right, it's a formula. But this crop of Cuban fighters, guys like Yoenli Hernandez, like Osles Iglesias, they have a mean streak as well. They're not just out looking to win by points.
Yes, and they have the body type to make another decision or take other options. They're not short guys with short necks, so you will understand if they wanted to stay behind their jab or their front knee. But they don't do that. They're here to get it. They front foot heavy. They have high volume. And they come with bad intentions to hurt you. And Hernandez comes with bad intentions to hurt you, and we are going to see it tonight.
Yeah, we saw that last time out, of course, against Terrell Gachet, although Gachet missed weight in that fight, but Hernandez dominant in that one, the 4th round TKO victory. What do you like out of Hernandez in that fight, looking back at it?
Relentless. He reminds me of the mentality-wise of David Benavidez. He just don't have the high volume. Every punch is with bad intentions. That could be a good thing and a bad thing, but for the sake of entertainment, we all love it, and it's a good thing. So, and don't forget, he's doing that to an Olympian. Goucher came to fight, but he basically put him in a box and shut him down, and that didn't happen by accident. He was punching around Goucher guard, punching in the middle of it. The uppercuts was landing so much, and a lot of people didn't agree with the stoppage. But Goucher just wasn't doing nothing to make someone believe that anything besides what was happening was going to change. So that's why the ref stepped in.
Well, as we mentioned tonight, taking on Francisco Verón, another man with excellent amateur background as well. But we were talking about that Brandon Adams fight before we went on the air, and the way that Adams was able to have success on the inside. Now, Verón, an extremely rugged fighter, but the way that you were talking about what Hernandez could do, Benavidez-esque on the inside, do you think that plays a major factor in this fight against
I think at 154, Brandon Adams that was going forward, imposing, going to the body, and that was bending him a bit. Not a bit, it was a lot. His mannerisms was saying at times in the fight, I don't want any more. So now we're at a higher weight class, 160, with really, and with the body type of a light heavyweight. Right. He's going to be hydrated tonight. I just can't see an imposing Hernandez on him. How is he going to deal with it when he wasn't able to deal with it with an Adams on him, like smaller Adams?
So that's our co-feature coming up later on tonight on DAZN pay-per-view. But coming up next weekend, it's the possible coronation of the next generation of heavyweight greats. As Moses Atama, you see it on the bottom of your screen, taking on Filip Hrgović, getting his first opportunity at a world title against a guy who's been established, who's been a fixture in this division for several years now. You think Moses Atama is the truth?
No, I don't think I know Moses Atama is the truth. And I want to say something. I have my reasons why I think he's the truth. Composure, the way he go in for finishes, his age, the maturity, when guys are hurt, how he act, how he creates the knockout. If you stick to the script, he gets you out of it. If you don't stick to the script, he becomes a creator in the ring and build the knockout. That's very impressive for a young man with all the pressure that's on him, the high expectations, and he's not going into this ring taking things for granted. He's going into this thing creating opportunities. He's going into this ring creating knockouts. He's creating openings. He have a hell of a trainer sister behind him with Ben Davis and Lee Wiley. They're doing an incredible job with him. But if there's any test of his career where he's going to have to prove everything that I just said, is going to be against Filip Hrgović.
Yeah, and this is a real step up, right?
Step up.
And it's a step up to the upper reaches of the division. And fights are that they are gradual building blocks for prospects like Atama, who when he was working his way up, we would say this is a step up, this is a step up. And on paper it is, and in terms of talent level it is, but that doesn't mean that they were challenges for Moses Atama, and this seems like the first challenge for Moses Atama in his career.
Yes. Jermaine Franklin, a step up.
Yes.
There's been a couple of Dennis McKean step up. Hergovich is the better out of all of the guys that he's fought. I've known him since we used to be in Vladimir Klitschko, boxing Vladimir together. I've seen him chase Vladimir around the ring when he was a young lion. You see him in the fights. He punches with bad intentions. He come forward. He don't care what you do. He still comes forward. And right now, I believe Hergovich is at a point in his career where there's a chip on his shoulder. He feel he have a lot to prove, and he know everyone is picking Moses. And I believe him knowing that everyone is picking Moses, it's going to make him more dangerous. So I would say to Moses, out of all of his fights, this is the fight where he's going to have to be extra alert, especially early on.
We can't wait for that one. Of course, August 29th here on DAZN. That's next week, but you've got a pay-per-view to call as well. I believe you have to get upstairs. Who are you working with tonight?
I'm about to head up right now. Yes, I got my wife, Kate Scott, and I got the great Chris Mannington. Let's go.
Fantastic. Yeah. Malik Scott, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. It's a pleasure to call fights with you. We're going to be back with more still to come. DAZN pay-per-view. It's Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez.
All right, shoot it.
Fight week is here. Where's your head at?
My head right now
on some food. I'm hungry, bro. I haven't ate all day, bro. Whatever you guys do, please don't let me be out the ring for over a year again. I don't need to ever lose this weight again.
Yeah, that's where my head is at.
It's Sunday morning. What's the boxing world going to be saying about Teofimo Lopez?
I guess we found out where his power is.
The day after the fight, what's the conversation in the boxing world about Rolly Romero?
Rolly beat Teofimo, he's burnt out, all this stuff, all that, you know. Teo wasn't qualified, and, all this stuff. Shakur burnt him out with his pillow fist and all this stuff, bro. They're never going to give him my credit.
We know there's a friendship, there's a mutual admiration. What makes Rolly a special fighter?
Yeah, Rolly possesses just a unique style that no one else can, train for. Really, it's just in the moment, in the ring, that you'll see that. So.
Bro, that dude has heart, bro. He's a dog, man, dude. I mean, dude, with his face, the way he's been cut up and all that stuff, a lot of people would never fight again.
Saturday night, team home for this fight. How excited are you for that, for the people to see this new Rolly?
I'm very excited, because people see a new me, because all the religious stuff and all that, people were like, oh, you have to be like this, you have to be like that. Like, I didn't change at all. I just became more disciplined in what actually matters.
I think Rolly's weakness is probably the control distance that he tries to use. You
guys just gotta tune in. It's gonna be an explosive fight against two punchers. It's gonna be one of the greatest fights, if not the greatest fight this year.
Hey, this is the Takeover, and this is the Teofimo Express. We're doing it, we doing it, and we did it, actually, man. I'll be honest, man. Expect a great fight. And if you've been riding with me, then you know what it is. Hardest worker in the room, Teofimo.
And we're back live here ringside at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. There's Daniel Blancas seated ringside. He just watched his younger brother Aldo Blancas pick up a victory on the undercard. Impressive performance from Aldo Blancas. And now I'm joined by Lamont Rose Jr., who is a man who's very familiar with the two men in the main event, but also with a man who was on the off-TV prelims. Ben Johnson looked pretty good in the early stages of the event.
Yeah, definitely. He did his thing. He fought a guy that was, trying to survive. And if everybody knows in boxing, the guys that are trying to survive are, the worst to look good against. He stuck to his jab. He had a pretty nice jab. This fight, if he could have listened a little more, I think he would have got him out of there.
Hey, let's give him some credit, though. Beating an Olympian, just 8 fights in your pro career, that's not nothing.
Nah, absolutely. And, we're training and we're all getting ready for the next level, no matter what it is. So
you seem to have really taken on kind of a mentor role for a lot of fighters in the DMV. We saw Jamal Harvey, who I know you sparred with last night. He looked great. Ben Johnson. Is that always been in you to kind of want to give back to the next generation of fighters from your region?
Yeah, absolutely. Because when I was coming up, I didn't necessarily have that. Like, there were a few champions around, but I wasn't able to reach them. I wasn't able to, actually be in the ring with them or touch them, give them advice or get advice, vice versa. So, it was a thing that, when I sit down and look at myself, outside of when I'm just chilling, to see who I really am to these guys, and you know, that's what makes it better.
Well, let's talk about tonight's main event. Obviously, as we mentioned, you've been a part of kind of this ecosystem of all these young fighters over the last couple of years, everyone fighting one another, and this is one of those fights that we maybe didn't think that we were going to get because Rolly and Teofimo were friends, but it seems like that friendship has dissolved.
You never know. It might be for the cameras. It might be because they are fighting. You got to have at least a little, you know, a little animosity for, you know, just to have the fight. Well, some people can turn it off. Some people can turn it on. But I think this is what boxing is about. Two guys who are stars in their own right, getting at it for a world championship.
Yeah, and two guys who could talk people into the arena, two massive personalities. Yeah. I had Malik Scott with me for the last couple hours, and he described Rolly Romero as maybe the most disrespected champion in boxing. And he said that a lot of people don't understand that he's a little bit underrated technique-wise. Do you think that there are things that people don't understand about Rolly when they're watching him?
For sure, especially the guys who aren't in boxing or who haven't been in the ring, who are new to boxing and things like that. If you check out his accolades, you'll be surprised. So, you know, he's accomplished a lot in his career, especially to be a boxer that started at 17 years old.
Now, obviously, taking on Teofimo Lopez, another guy who can feel disrespected at times because he has had those kind of peaks and valleys in his career. He's had those cold nights, and he's had some brilliant nights that have won him 2 Ring Magazine titles. What version of Teofimo do you think we see here tonight?
And that's the thing, is which version is going to show up. To go back to how fighters or maybe Rolly might be considered disrespected, because his skill set is different from Teofimo's. Teofimo is purely like a skilled boxer. And when you look at Rolly, he might not look as polished as a Teofimo, but he has the tools and the skills to be in there to be a world champion, a multi-division world champion. So who knows if Teo might conform to Rolly's awkwardness and whatever the case may be, and might get a little stuck in there. Who knows? Or will he come out there guns blazing, skills on point, defense on point, and be on target? So you never know.
You mentioned coming out guns blazing, and I think there are some people out there who think that's the key for Teofimo in this fight, because looking at some of his good nights, some of his off nights, the good ones seem to be when he comes out hot. Yeah. That Teofimo, once he gets on a roll, can be very hard to stop. Do you think it's important for Romero to kind of slow the pace a little bit in the early half of that fight and then see where things go?
I think so. I think the pace would be set by Rolly. I think so for sure. Whether he is going in there and going to try to thump with him, or is he's going to sit back and have his little awkwardness take over.
Have you spent time in the ring? Have you sparred with either of these guys in the past?
I haven't sparred with neither.
No? Okay, all right. So you've been obviously an eager observer.
I've been very observant, yes.
What do people maybe not... I asked you this about Rolly, but when it comes to Teofimo, what do people maybe not see in terms of his skill level that makes him great?
Just the way he can put it all together. He can give you the flash, he can give you the defense at times, and he definitely can give you the dynamic punching power and speed. He has good reaction to a lot of shots because that's how he practices. If you ever watch him, some of his training videos and stuff like that, he has good reaction time. So when he slips a shot, he's trying to come back with a shot. So the things that he does and when he puts it together well, especially when he's just relaxed and calm and in his zone.
No, we talked about the trainer battle when Malik was here as well. In very different corners, you have Teofimo and his dad and all the tumultuous energy that comes with that. Yeah. And then you have Ismael Salas, kind of one of the geniuses of boxing from the classic Cuban school. Right. You couldn't have two more different corners here tonight as well.
I think that's going to be a key factor too, though. I definitely think that's going to be a key factor. To me, and I'm not trying to throw no shots out there or disrespect anybody, but to me, I think Teo coaches himself. I think his natural skill and his experience has just allowed him to gain everything that he has done over his career. I mean, even from an amateur all the way to now. And I think his dad is, him and his dad were a good match because you don't get this far without being a good match. Right. But I think Tio is more of the coach than his dad is.
Now, before I get you out of here, you've been playing analyst here, but I have to ask you what's next for you. What do you see in the near future now?
In the near future, we're going to get back in the ring, hopefully, to get back in that title contention with the WBC. I'm eager to get back with or avenge what has happened, even if it doesn't happen next, even if it doesn't happen in 2 fights, whatever the case may be. I'm eager to be a world champion again, but it would be even more sweeter to, come against the Pater again. We're still ranked number 2 in the WBC, so however it goes, the path is going to be to gaining another world title.
And of course, as we mentioned, you're doing your part mentoring potential future world champions as well. You're doing great work, man, and did great work as an analyst here. Thanks so much for stopping by.
Yes, sir.
All right, Lamont Roach, and just a reminder, our main event coming up a little bit later on, live on DAZN pay-per-view. It's Rolly Romero and Teofimo Lopez.
On DAZN, the fights never stop, with the biggest nights in boxing all year long.
It has never been bigger for any fighter in the history of this country. Let's get ready to rumble!
Every week, it's on. So take your seat and join us ringside. Incredible! The undisputed global home of boxing. Watch only on DAZN.
On Saturday, August 29th, it's a heavyweight world title fight for the history books. Moses Atauma can become the second youngest heavyweight champ ever as he takes on Filip Hrgović with a vacant IBF strap on the line. You can buy that now at DAZN.com/boxing. Then, Friday, September 4th, the former unified heavyweight world champion Andy Ruiz is back in action against Damian Niba in New Jersey. September 19th, Pitbull Cruz puts his interim WBC super lightweight title up against Nestor Bravo. And of course, the legend, Canelo Alvarez, begins his journey back to super middleweight supremacy. And his first target is Christian Mbili for the WBC belt, live on DAZN, October 31st. And the final moments of the countdown are upon us to the top of the hour when we are live on DAZN pay-per-view. Rolly and Teofimo, Corey Erdman here ringside, now joined by my old pal, Mr. Versace himself, Rick Reno. What's going on, man?
Tanya, I think we're going to be in for a good night of fights tonight.
Now, you have been central to some of the storylines in the build-up to this fight. Of course, the interview with Tio and his dad, things, getting a little bit tumultuous. What is your read on the temperature of the relationship between Lopez and his father right now?
I think it's one of those complicated relationships of ups and downs. I mean, we've seen a lot of father-son combinations not work out in boxing. There's more stories that are unsuccessful than there are successful. And there seems to be a little bit of animosity in the aftermath, you would say, of the Shakur-Stevenson fight. They said that they're past the animosity. Everything is good now. Everything's been resolved. That the interview they did with me was more of their way of overcoming everything. And now we have to see where Tio is mentally at when he gets in the ring. And he's in with, a dangerous guy.
We got about a minute left, and we've been talking about this all night. Two kind of enigmatic fighters. You don't always know what you're going to get out of these two guys. That's also what kind of makes them exciting. How are you seeing this fight play out a little bit later on tonight?
If it was prior to the win that that Rolly got over Ryan Garcia, and prior to what happened with Tio and Shakur, you would say on paper, Tio's just going to outbox him probably to a decision win. But Rolly is riding a big high right now. His confidence level is sky high. He's changed his entire life around, found God. He's a big puncher. Tio hasn't really been a big puncher since 35. He's a good enough puncher. If he's not able to hurt Rolly, will Rolly just try to steamroll right past him and use his physicality and his power? And we have to see if he could take Tio's power and says, you know what, I could take it. I'm just going to go right after him.
Well, you can buy that pay-per-view now. Buy now on DAZN.
All right.